Hey, I don't know if you guys know a YouTuber who makes videos sometimes. I boxed him on my channel, and he got the book by Friedrich Nietzsche, or it's either Nietzsche or Nietzsche, whichever. It's called Beyond Good and Evil, and I thought that we should both do reviews or read things and bring about principles in each book, and then compare about how his overall theories are. So I'm gonna start that here today, and mostly because I began reading Friedrich Nietzsche's The Gay Science, and no, it's not homosexual science. It's Die Froehliche Wissenschafte, which means Froehliche means in German it's more of a happiness, it's gay in the happiness word, and Wissenschafte means science. So it's Die Froehliche Wissenschafte, it has nothing to do with homosexuality. It's this has a lot of roots. This is a precursor to existentialism in a lot of ways, but I'm just reading the beginning parts of the book, and it's just, there is a ethical stance here, basically because there is overall he has a philosophy that whatever we do as human species, that whatever our plans are, whatever we plan to do, that we are trying to preserve the human race, the human species. We are trying to preserve things. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my camera. It's still screwing me up. We're trying to preserve our own species. We're trying to do that, and that whatever we do that happens to be good or evil, that our ultimate instinct, he calls it an instinct, that our ultimate instinct is to preserve the species and preserve ourselves, and that's what ultimately the good is what he discusses. In the beginnings of book one, he begins it with book one, and it's not. I've read a lot of the book one, but I'm taking up some highlights here of his philosophy of preserving the species. Of preserving, of preserving who we are. Now, this is, for one, he talks about the teachers of the purpose of existence, and basically here he discusses how we are trying to preserve our species. Now, he says, whether I contemplate men with benevolence or with an evil eye, I always find them concerned with a single task, all of them and every one of them in particular, to do what is good for the preservation of the human race, not from any feeling of love for the race, but merely because nothing in them is older, stronger, and more inexorable and unconquerable than this instinct, because this instinct constitutes the essence of our species, our herd. And this, he talks a lot more about this and about how it's our instinct. And then here, this is where a huge ethical standpoint comes in. Remember I talked about, I have a video on utilitarianism, quite a long one, but this is where he says that that typically in the majority of humans do not have intellectual conscience. Intellectual conscience meaning our mind, our brain, our mind, and what we think about, and how we govern our own actions, and conscious meaning awareness. He says that overall, in the majority, that us as humans in a race and a species do not have this intellectual conscience. Now, what this means is he doesn't think that we are sitting here and calculating out what's good, what the best actions are, or what the best, or what we're not sitting here calculating epistemological properties or metaphysical properties. We're not sitting here calculating what's good and what's morally wrong and what's intrinsically good, what's morally right and what's intrinsically evil. We're not calculating that out. Now, what a utilitarian philosophy is a calculation either by expedience and act or a moral code, which is rule utilitarianism, that we are calculating things either by a moral code to fall back on or an act of expedience where we calculate it all ourselves. Now, both of these are done to get the most social utility, and this is something. This whole utilitarian ethical philosophy is something that Nietzsche greatly opposes. And so here he talks about what preserved the species. If I can find it. Where is the thing? I can't find it. Okay, nowadays I'm just gonna read this. Nowadays, there's a profoundly erroneous moral doctrine that is celebrated, especially in England, that holds that judgment of good and evil sum up experiences of what is expedient and inexpedient. One holds that what is called good preserves the species, while what is called evil harms the species. In truth, however, evil instincts are expedient, species preserving and indispensable to as a high degree as the good ones. Their function is merely different. This is a very ethical philosophy of his, because he's saying that the good, because ethic and ethical theory is a understanding of what is trying to figure out what is the good and what we do. We're trying to figure out that what is done that would preserve or that would have good or what would produce intrinsic good. Now, utilitarians, whether they're act or rule or extremely restricted, they think that producing utility or social utility is what the good is. Now, what Nietzsche is saying about preserving the species is that preserving the species, whether it's done with evil or good, that that good and evil are both species preserving. So a act utilitarian would calculate things so that they're good. They wouldn't do things if they were evil. No. He's opposing utilitarianism because he's saying that species preserving is the ultimate intrinsic good, whether it's done through evil or good. So it doesn't really matter what we do as long as we are maintaining this instinct of preserving the species, then that's the ultimate good. So this is why he has. Now these are footnotes by Kaufman. Kaufman is everywhere, and existentialism and everything else. He, as well as others that I've read about Nietzsche, has understood that this is a philosophy against utilitarianism. Now it's one hold that what is called good preserves the species, while what is called evil harms the species. Now, he doesn't think that evil harms the species. In truth, however, evil instincts are expedient, species-preserving, and indispensable to as high a degree as the good ones. Their function is merely different. So, we can see how this works. We can see how this opposes utilitarian ethics. And you can see how preserving the species is the ultimate good more than utility. So he just has a different ethical understanding of what the good is, because ethics is, trying to find the good, and the understanding of what is wrong and what is right and what's good and what's evil. But he's understanding that the intrinsic good is the preservation of species, regardless of how that comes about, whether through good or evil. So, what do you guys think now? I mean, I made a utilitarianism video where I explained it, and I'm going to make another video about utilitarianism besides this one based on how J.S. Mill understands it. But in the other video I made before, which you can find here, you can go there and you can understand what utilitarianism is, because I go way in depth in it. And that, what do you guys think? Do you think that the good is the production of social utility, or do you think that the good is preservation of the species? Or do you think that we even have an instinct of species preservation at all? I mean, what do you think? All right, I'll see you guys later.